Following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
Jose Fernandez throws gas. Noah Syndergaard, nasty cheese. Two of the hardest throwers in the game are in New York tonight. Jose Fernandez takes aim at the Mets. Next. This Marlins and Mets series is sponsored by Echo Power Equipment. New York City. You want a snack at the Shake Shack? Well, you better hurry up because the Express is pulling in. The 7 train. Marlin fans are here. What a marquee matchup. Yeah, Giancarlo and Thor will meet. Jose Fernandez, Noah Syndergaard. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Al Leiter. This is the marquee matchup in baseball tonight. Marlins feel good about a win last night and anticipating a great one tonight.
Well, how about last night, huh? 15 hits, 10 runs. What a great win for the Mets coming into it. Or the Marlins, Mets. Thinking about this night, this series, and then particularly this matchup right here, Rich, knowing what Syndergaard and Jose Fernandez can do, both of these guys, premium pitchers with exceptional stuff, it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, and the contrast is maybe the coldest night the Marlins will play a game this year, and two of the hardest throwers in all of baseball. Let's go next level, and let's talk both of these guys. Let's start with Jose Fernandez. What makes him special, and what must he do to improve on his last start?
Exceptional velocity. I think his fastball curveball combination. Look, he had a bummer of a start. It was like 17-0 in his starts at the Marlins Stadium. Ended up losing that pitch right there. I know they call it a curveball. It looks like a slider. Got burned by Saltalamacchia, his old catcher. Ended up hitting a home run. Syndergaard, very similar. Syndergaard, not only does he fastball, curveball, changeup, he's now throwing a slider. In this game here, he ended up throwing a couple sliders at 95. You see his average velocity. It is plus power arm from both sides, Syndergaard and Jose Fernandez. This is going to be a great matchup. Both of these respective lineups are going to have a tough time scoring.
All right, you talked about stuff. What about personalities? What's the contrast between the two?
You know, they have swagger. There's no doubt about it. The swagger between both of these, and I think if you look at premium pitchers, and both of these guys are, and I know they're young, 23 years old, here they have a chance of really showing the next upside. And I think what's really cool about when you face a great pitcher is that who cracks early. Which of these respective lineups are going to try to push a run to create that little bit of pressure, because it's going to be that kind of night.
It should be a lot of fun. And emails and tweets for what should be a fun ride tonight. It's Jose against Thor, Syndergaard, Fernandez, Marlins and Mets, emails and tweets, and Jessica Blaylock when we get back. Even colder tonight in New York. Long sleeves for Noah Syndergaard. He and Travis d'Arnaud on their way in for the bullpen, getting ready for a showdown with Jose Fernandez and the Marlins. Let's check in down below. Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Hey, Rich, it is the debut of a Twitter and email Tuesday driven by your South Florida Ford dealers. Marlins fans, we love hearing from you, and this is the perfect way for you to interact with our broadcast. Send your tweets to @FoxMarlins. Those emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com. And tonight, we want you to use that special hashtag MyOffSeason. We want to know how you spent it and what you did to get ready for baseball. So again, send your tweets to @FoxMarlins, send those emails to foxmarlins@gmail.com, and use tonight's special hashtag MyOffSeason. Be sure to keep it right here. First pitch is coming up between the Marlins and the Mets. It is game 2 of this series. It is Jose Fernandez on the mound for the Fish. 13 strikeouts in his season debut. He will look to get his first win of the season. He will have to face off against Noah Syndergaard.
Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By Checkers, fast foodies know the deal. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Noah Syndergaard on his way out. Citi Field. Marlins last night took game 1 of a 3-game set convincingly by a score of 10-3. Lineup to face Thor tonight. Brought to you by UHealth. For Miami, D. Gordon in the leadoff spot. Marcell Ozuna is in center field. Christian Yelich in left. Giancarlo Stanton in right. Justin Bohr is at first. Derek Dietrich is at third base. And Denny Echeverria hits well in this ballpark, and he slides up to 7th. Jeff Mathis will do the catching. He will catch Jose Fernandez. Fernandez in the 9th spot, and Noah Syndergaard is on the rubber and ready to go. D. Gordon in the box on a chilly night at Citi Field. Two of the hardest throwers in baseball go at each other. And a first pitch fastball zips in at 97 miles an hour. That pitch brought to you by Pinch a Penny.
Gas, first pitch. We're going to see a lot of that tonight.
Even more gas, 98 miles an hour. D. Gordon last night, a couple of hits. He's had a terrific start to the season. Even more gas. 97, 98, 97.
You know what that is, Rich? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. D. Gordon is a heck of a hitter, but wow.
What else you got on Syndergaard?
Well, let's take a look. We just saw a couple 98s. 98.5 miles an hour, that's his average fastball. Thor, that's his nickname, and the rest, the other starters that have started so far, 1-4 with a 5.33 ERA, so he's been really it. I know this rotation is going to be better than that. And NL East, what I read in there, he's added another pitch, a slider. There it is. So if it wasn't tough enough for the NL East, I say, and it could be everybody in baseball who faces him, he's a fastball. Now slider, his last game, Rich, he threw 25% of his pitches were sliders, curveball, and change. He's a 4-pitch pitcher. There it is again.
Marcell OZUNA, a rough patch in the 2 spot until his 3rd at bat last night, where he doubled in the 4th and then homered down the right field line in the 6th.
On an 0-2 pitch.
1-1 coming. OZUNA into the bat, little flare out into center. Neil Walker is there, and Walker makes the catch. Defense for the Mets.
Well, let's take a look at the Metropolitans defense out in the outfield. We've got Michael Conforto, Yoenis Cespedes in center field, and the Granny Man in right. David Wright, Asdrubal Cabrera, Neil Walker, both up the middle, shortstop and second base are new players here with the Mets. Lucas Duda at first, Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate, and Noah Syndergaard on the mound.
Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Here's Yelich now. Syndergaard was just dominant in his first start, and that was in Kansas City. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 9 punch-outs. And right now, if you had to say of the Mets starters, the best guy going, this guy.
Well, I mean, look, you got DeGrom, who's out. He was supposed to pitch tomorrow. He's got a lat issue, so that is of some concern. Also, too, Jacob DeGrom during his spring training, I don't know whether it's just a hiccup from last year's World Series, but his velocity's been down. And Matt Harvey, who I still love, at this guy's front end, he is, to me, still their ace, but Syndergaard has pitched the best of these guys. There's Matt Harvey. Matt ended up giving up 3 runs the other day to the Phillies in a loss.
Odubel Herrera touched him for a home run.
Little slider down and in, that's right.
2-1. Yelich fouls it off. It's 2-2.
A 90-mile-an-hour changeup follows up with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
And of course, Syndergaard burst on the scene last year. The Marlins did not see him last year. This is his first appearance against Miami. Got him. Breaking ball. Syndergaard punches out 2. Round 1 to Noah Syndergaard. Round 2, Jose Fernandez takes the hill. 3 up, 3 down, pair of punch outs. Now Jose Fernandez takes a look at this Mets lineup, and it's brought to you by UHealth. Curtis Granderson in right. David Wright is hot right now. Yoenis Cespedes, Lucas Duda, Neil Walker at second. Michael Conforto at left. There's Drupal Cabrera, Travis d'Arnaud, and then Syndergaard. And there you go, fastball 95 to open up Curtis Granderson's night. Granderson has been slumping, just 1 for 24 to start the season. David Wright, Yoenis Cespedes will follow against Jose. And that fastball zips in at the knees at 96.
You know, looking at Curtis Granderson, he struggled early on last year with not hitting, but he was getting on base, and it was always something that the Mets were able to handle, the fact that he was still getting on. But here, you start getting up into that 1 for 24, as you just said, Rich. Little people start talking in your head. And Grandy, man, you know, he's got Kevin Long, the hitting coach here, that he had for a long time with the Yankees. True professional. He will get out of it. But there's a few, Rich, there's a few guys struggling. And I say that because going into scouting, when I scouting report, really, I always want to know who's hot, who can't wait to get to the batter's box, and who is cold. And they have a couple guys on this. They're batting 185 as a team, worst in baseball.
Breaking ball pulled foul.
So take advantage of that. Take advantage of the guys that are looking for extra video, talking to the hitting coach, getting extra hitting. You know, those numbers there, that's a struggle. You're struggling.
5 pitches, 4 fastballs. Something to look at tonight, the ratio for Jose Fernandez. 2-2. Breaking ball, line to right. Stanton over for it. And he can't get it. It's by him to the wall, and Granderson can run. He'll stop at second. Stanton has it. It was the breaking ball that hurt Jose against the Tigers, and Granderson gets one to his liking for a double.
Well, here it is right here. Slider down middle, but it was down in the zone. Ends up giving Granderson, that's a mistake, middle of the plate. You know, you want to bury it. I know 2-2 count, be able to get that ball down. You look at Stanton, he thought he could cut it off. I don't even know if he cut it off, would Granderson have been still able to make second base.
David Wright, Yoenis Cespedes, and now Lucas Duda for the Mets, trying to get on the board first. And David Wright swung the bat well last night. Fernandez misses away. Wright 2 for 4 last night. Double and a single and a hard line drive out to end the ball game. And his career numbers against Jose Fernandez. 0 for 8. This is start number 5 against the Mets in Jose's career. Misses out, and the count is 2-0. Mets hitter with the best success against Jose, Neil Walker, 2 for 5. Not a huge sample size. And it's 3-0. Well, you heard Juan Nieves on our air on Sunday indicate that he'd like Jose to throw a few more fastballs and fewer breaking balls. But to do that, he has to command those fastballs. And right now, he's fallen behind 3-0. And he walks right. So a double to Granderson, a walk to right, and nobody, even Stanton, nobody hit the ball harder than Yoenis Cespedes, and he's coming up. Miami's defense tonight out.
Adam, Marlins defensively, Christian Yelich in left field, Marcell Ozuna center, Stanton in right. Dietrich getting the start in third base with Prado seated. Echeverria, D. Gordon up the middle, love it. Justin Board first. And Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Kind of Jose Fernandez's numbers much better with Mathis as his catcher.
Some concern a bit. Don Mattingly watching Jose Fernandez. Syndergaard went 1-2-3. Mets have an opportunity here, and there's the breaking ball to start the Cespedes at bat. And it is 0-1. Mets have struggled with the bats. There's no mystery of that. They are 2-4. They were just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position last night. Terry Collins trying to recapture the magic of last year that took them to the World Series, where they lost to Kansas City. Breaking ball, 0-2.
Not a bad idea. First pitch after getting wild, 4 pitches in a row to David Wright, came back with a first pitch breaking ball. Cespedes, often a veteran hitter, will think that you're trying to get ahead with a fastball. Good sequence right there. He's got 2 pitches here to expand.
Of course, you've got a pair of Cubans matched up here in Flushing. Oh, 2. Heat, 98 miles an hour, and that is something that will make Juan Nieves quite happy. They've talked to Fernandez about dialing it up when you need it most.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rich. And you know, the sequence there of 2 sliders, the first pitch a little bit taken off, second one a little harder, and then just gas, as you said, upstairs. Good fastball, best fastball so far of his 13 pitches.
Now Lucas Duda. For Jose, he got 17 outs against the Tigers. 13 of those were strikeouts, which is an enormous ratio. The problem was he gave up 5 runs on 5 hits in those 5 2/3 innings. He's got Duda the lefty and the switch hitting Walker on deck. The changeup, a pitch that Jose really worked on in his rehab from Tommy John, especially in the offseason.
Wow, this is right, Rich. Watch it just dip out. That's a beautiful pitch. A third pitch like that, to have that, aside from just fastball slider, the speed differential and the movement, it's a great pitch.
1-1. That one runs away, and it's 2-1.
What's interesting you say that about times when you have a great arm, as Jose Fernandez does, often you think you have to max out every time, and you don't. Even his 90% effort is still harder than most guys in the big leagues. Be able to command, say, 94-ish, hitting your spots, and then when you can elevate velocity, yeah, you have a little extra.
I think the guy that was probably the poster child for that, maybe not this year, and the Marlins faced him this year,
Verlander.
Justin Verlander. He was able to start at 92, 93 and get stronger and faster as the game went.
You know, and I don't know if it's just Jose Fernandez. He's a good kid, and you know, he's excitable. He's got a lot of energy. You know, whether he's trying to embarrass every hitter, does he want to strike everybody out? You mentioned about his numbers in his last start of 13 strikeouts. He didn't finish 6 innings. It's impressive. That's like high school kind of numbers, striking all 2 batters an inning. But I just think he's a max effort guy. Some guys are pedal to the metal.
Duda into right on a hop. Stanton has it get by him, and Granderson is going to score. The throw into second. Tag out at second base is Duda. Mets get a run. Marlins get an out. Wright remains at third. And it's 1-0 Mets.
Looked like an off-speed pitch, changeup. Yeah, a little bit higher. You could see Duda was fooled, but his hands were still back. Stanton tried to get that ball, either try to catch it or try to stop it. He did not, but OZUNA, being right there, was able to nail Duda, get it out of it. Good quick little snap tag by D. Gordon.
But the Mets have a run on a night where you think runs will be at a premium, and here's Walker, who takes a strike. And you made the observation in Marlins Live, who would blink first? And it's the Mets who have that first run. 97 on that fastball. It's 0-2.
Yeah, one run against a guy like Syndergaard may feel like 3 or 4, based on how difficult it is to score against a guy. But you know, it's human. They've got an ERA. They don't. Great pitchers don't pitch a whole year with a 0 ERA. but you want to limit the damage. You don't want your offense to get way behind. Preserve that run at third base right here.
One and two to Neil Walker, the longtime Pirate. Now a Met, filling the void left by postseason hero Daniel Murphy. On the ground, Dietrich to a knee, across the diamond, in time to get Neil Walker, but the Mets get a run on a pair of hits. And after one, it's 1-0 New York. Giancarlo Stanton in the box last night. Stanton with a nice night, and this, the finishing blow on a 7-run inning, 418 feet to left. Stanton's second homer of the season, and he stands in against Syndergaard. He flips up a breaking ball for a strike.
Marlins batted around in that second inning.
Stanton had some issues out in right field in the bottom half of the inning. And he lays off the slider. Tim Timmons, the home plate umpire. That's Mike Everett. Paul Emmels at second. Jordan Baker, who had the dish last night, is at third base. And you see how the wind is whipping both uniforms and hair with Syndergaard. He misses up, and it's 2-1. Right now, I'm looking at the flags out in left field. It looks like the wind is coming in from left. 3-1.
That's howling. Last night, the ball, I was talking to Perry Hill, the infield instructor, first base coach, and he said, I said about who had that, the ball that dropped. It was Prado's ball, but there was a shift. He said that ball started from the first baseline and ended up falling behind the pitcher's mound behind third base last night.
Yeah, that's
wind's howling.
That's no picnic for a guy like Prado.
And I think the wind is even stronger tonight.
3-2. Fastball. He got a fastball, and that popped something off of d'Arnaud, I believe. And Stanton actually picks it out and hands it to the Mets catcher. Watch that right shoulder pad.
Wow. Good thing it was there. Wow. Fix that thing.
It's kind of lifeless right now. Let's see if he gets another fastball. 3-2. No, breaking ball, and he went for it. Showed him one fastball, 3-2, and then pulled the string.
Well, almost unfair. You got a guy throwing 98 to 100 miles an hour, 3-2 count. I know it's Giancarlo Stanton. Beautiful pitch, couldn't lay off. It's a ball, but they're looking reaction time of 97, 98 miles an hour, and he gets a 3-2 slider. Good pitch.
Justin Bour goes after a fastball and fouls it back. Now you've got Bour, who last night had the night off with Steven Matz getting the start, and Chris Johnson in his spot ended up going 2 for 3, a pair of walks and a double. And fastball misses away. Bour, old-fashioned, old school, no batting gloves. Especially notable on a night like tonight.
You go way back old school. With the no batting gloves?
Yeah, there are a few in the game now that don't use the batting gloves.
Moises Alou was a good, was a teammate with the Marlins. He didn't have batting gloves. I know Jorge Posada did not. He had a 1-2 changeup, good pitch.
Syndergaard right now has been dominant. He has punched out 4 of 5 that he has faced. Season ticket plans start at just $6 a game. Half season plans, 3 great 20-game mini plans as well. All season ticket plans include entry into the Fish Family Loyalty Program and guarantee access to the 2017 All-Star Game at Marlins Park. Go to marlins.com/season tickets. A hearty Marlin fan there and an old school one there. Now Derek Dietrich. Derek Dietrich gets his first start, and it just happens to be against the guy with the hardest fastball in the big leagues as a starter.
Yeah, get your rest. You're playing tomorrow. Who am I facing? Syndergaard. All right.
Dietrich, who has some pop, a couple of hits in 3 at-bats. He's had some good pitch hitting at-bats. And a strike. Dietrich turns back to Tim Timmons. And that pitch is pitch number 3. Look how far outside that is. '99 finishes off Dietrich, and Noah Syndergaard is dominant right now. 5 out of 6 outs have been strikeouts. And their second look at Jose Fernandez. Scatter report on Jose Fernandez.
Well, let's see. He's dominated the Mets in his career. This is his 5th start. He's 1-0 with an ERA of 1.64 in 22 innings. Great fastball curveball combination. We've talked about it. He's also introduced a little bit more of a changeup. Like to see more of that. And he can sometimes fall in love with his curveball. Throw it, as we've been talking about, and I know Juan Nieves is trying to get him to be more aggressive with that 95, 6, 7 mile an hour fastball.
Michael Conforto. And a fastball for a strike. That leads us to our first email. This is your first email Twitter Tuesday.
All right.
I don't know that you do this on the Yes Network with Michael K, but here we go. Austin starts our night. And it's a pitching question. It deals with Jose. Here's the 1-1. Do you think a guy like Jose Fernandez throws too many strikes? Ooh. Should he mix in a chase pitch every now and then?
Yeah, of course. You know, the whole strategy or the idea about pitching is to actually make balls look like strikes and strikes look like balls. And we just saw there Tim Timmons didn't call a high slider that was up in the zone. You can throw too many strikes as what's his name? Austin. Yes, you can throw too many strikes. There's a difference between control and command. Control is you could throw strikes.
Oh, it hit the umpire in foul territory.
Jordan Baker, wow.
Now, sometimes umpires straddle the line. Baker was in foul territory. Met fans are reacting like it would have been a hit. But if the umpire's in foul territory and it hits him, it's foul. If he's in fair territory and it hits him, it's fair. That's a foul ball.
Just shows you the reaction. You know, I mean, he's on the edge of the infield dirt, watching, obviously paying attention, still couldn't get out of the way. How quick the ball comes off Major League bat. That ball's just hooking him. Ooh.
That was close.
Very close.
That was, you don't expect that at third base is supposed to be your night off as an umpire. It's the night after you had home plate.
It had a slice to it, too, so messed up Jordan Baker. But yes, control and command. There's no question about it. To be able to command where you're throwing the pitches, Austin, is a different, I think, definition than control. There's plenty of guys that can throw a ball over the plate. Now can you take that pitch and hit down and away? Throw a ball a little higher than high, neck high. Command your pitches.
3-2. And a breaking ball in the dirt. Conforto walks. And so Fernandez, who was out in front, his second walk. And your Fox Tracks look around the plate, except his last 2 pitches, numbers 6 and 7.
I mean, you know, it's kind of a quandary, right? You throw strikes, get ahead, and then expand the zone. And expand the zone, 0-2, 1-2. I have 0-2. I have 2 pitches. That's a pitcher's pitch. Pitcher's pitches are out of the zone, unless you could just completely overmatch a guy. As both of these guys have that kind of stuff, Rich.
Here's Cabrera now. Chris in Stewart. With the weather, how does it affect a guy like Jose or even Syndergaard, both hard throwers?
Well, the warmest guy or the hottest guy on the field is the pitcher because he's exerting the most energy. So in a cold day, there's a grip issue with cold days. That you need perspiration to be able to get a good grip on the baseball. So that is kind of the problem when it comes to cold. 55 degrees, folks, is not that cold. I know we're down in Florida, or y'all are watching down in Florida.
Yeah, but it
feels colder. Okay.
Yeah, look, 20-mile-an-hour wind.
No, that's true.
You're going to get down into the lower 40s and upper 30s in terms of wind chill.
Mostly grip issue, not because of anything to do with that you just can't get loose. I felt once I got hot. Yeah, I mean, there's days I pitched the game. I know we did the network did with Alex Fernandez in 1997 Chicago. I pitched the next day, and I think with the wind chill, it was single digits at Wrigley. Which gets me on a whole other subject, Rich. Allowing pitchers to get a grip.
So it sounds like you're headed to pine tar. You're headed towards using something to allow pitchers, because that's when we see in baseball, the accusations fly is not on a warm night someplace. It's oftentimes in a cold weather place.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when it's cold, they let you blow in your hand.
Little pop-up, Gordon out, Stanton in, and Stanton makes the catch.
And you could blow in your hand to get moisture. That's what it is. You're getting your hot breath to be able to get a little moisture in your hand. The rosin bag behind or the pitcher's mound is useless unless you have some sort of wet, some kind of wet. That doesn't do anything right there. That rosin bag, it looks good, but how often are guys using it? Unless you got a little sweat, and now it can get a little tacky.
Well, one thing we haven't seen Jose do yet, and it's something that he has done since he got to the big leagues, it's different than a lot of pitchers. He does not like to use the rosin bag because growing up in Cuba, he would put his hand in the dirt, foul back off the bat of Travis d'Arnaud. And that's why during a start with Jose, you'll always see that dark patch on his right hip, hand in the dirt, wipe the hand on the pants. That's been the routine. We haven't seen that tonight, which is a little different than his normal routine, and that might just be because of the weather. d'Arnaud, not a great start to his season, just 1 for 15. Breaking ball misses out. Andrew wants to know if the Marlins need a starter, would they move David Phelps into their rotation? And I read that question not because that's going to happen, but because in talking to Don Mattingly today, one of the things the Marlins have planned to do and will do with David Phelps, who had that long relief effort, a terrific one, in Washington, D.C. They want David Phelps pitch in the 7th and the 8th inning. They're going to condense him instead of stretch him out. Liner to right, Stanton over for it. And the Mets have runners at 1st and 2nd. And d'Arnaud has a hit. 3 hits against Fernandez.
Well, coming in 1 for 15. d'Arnaud stays on the ball. You could see the ball just leak back over the plate. Jeff Mathis was setting up away, tries to paint the fastball away, and ends up being pretty much down the middle. Good piece of hitting right there by Travis d'Arnaud.
And Syndergaard comes up with 1 out, runners 1st and 2nd in a probable bunt situation. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I read the David Phelps tweet, is that the Marlins have plans of making Phelps a short reliever, so they're going to condense him more than stretch him out. And, well, and oftentimes you find, especially with velocity, and Phelps' velocity has been good in the spring, your velocity goes up if you're only going to throw an inning or 20 pitches.
10, 12, 14 pitches. If you're talking about a 1-inning guy, it's max effort, empty the tank. And yes, your velocity does go up in that role. I mean, looking at their pen, you basically have a bunch of starters out there.
Syndergaard.
We saw Narveson last night. He was a starter with the Brewers a few years ago. Dustin McGowan started with Toronto. I know he's had a couple years with out of the bullpen. David Phelps was kind of a swing guy, and Edwin Jackson also was a starter. Your true quote-unquote relievers right now: Brian Morris, Craig Breslow, and the closer AJ Ramos.
Ford creeps in. Dietrich's at 3rd. Good bunt. Jose has to get it himself. Fires to 1st. And a nifty pick by Gordon. And a nice play by Fernandez.
So that's a good job by Noah Syndergaard, because this is a design play that the pitcher has control of the pitcher's mound to 3rd base. Derek Dietrich is a read play, and he hits it a little bit farther. They're trying to get the runner out at 3rd base if they can. Watch the read here. Dietrich just basically gives up. Now, in that case, it probably needed to charge. That's a good play by Jose Fernandez. Tough play. Had to go pretty far, and it was a good bunt. Well executed all the way around.
Jeff Mathis out to talk to Jose, and that's one change from the first start. Mathis was going to play either tonight or tomorrow, and Don Mattingly decided let's pair him with Jose and see if that works. You noted that Jose's numbers with Mathis somewhat better. Granderson takes a fastball up. Curtis Granderson got a breaking ball and pulled it into right for a double. snapping an 0 for 20. And a changeup floats away.
That's a good take right there. He's got a 1-0 count, fastball count, and a changeup. Look how far that ball moved. It looked the middle of the plate and ended up being about a foot off. Got the open base. Yep.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather pitch to Granderson here than David Wright?
Yes, I would. But, you know, even though it's only a hit and he hit the double in his first at bat, making it 2 for 25 on the season, you know, sometimes that's all it takes. He's still a good major league hitter. You're in a 2-0 fastball count. Not that you're trying to walk him, but you don't want to lay it in there. You got 2 valuable runs at second and third here with 2 outs.
Sharp break on a 3-0.
Wow.
How about that?
Well, that is clearly, he's looking heater. That's the design of a good slider. Now, you know, Granderson is struggling right now. Maybe if he's hot, he'd take that pitch. But look at the movement on that. Not only going into the lefty, but down. That was trigger mode. I'm swinging.
And the difference between the pitch that Granderson hit, that was a back foot slider as opposed to a back door slider. 3-1.
Nice.
Changeup at 88 miles an hour.
That is a beautiful pitch. He can go anywhere right now. It is so far in his head. 3-0, he swings at his slider and watches a 3-1 changeup. I mean, look at the movement on that. He can go anywhere. What's this ball? Good down and away bite.
And a little bit of a look of a King Felix changeup with a good movement. 3-2. Check swing. I think he went. No, not on the appeal. And Granderson is safe at first on a walk. And the home plate umpire, Tim Timmons, delivering a new ball to Fernandez. Not often that a pitcher gets to voice his displeasure in person.
Yeah. Listen.
D. Gordon trying to get Fernandez through this inning. The Mets have done a few things here. Number one, they have a run. Number two, they have pushed Fernandez' pitch count up to 45. And Juan Nieves is on. Obviously, with Fernandez, the Marlins would like to limit him to about 180 innings as the season goes. They want to avoid, obviously, the Steven Strasburg situation. Even the acrimony that the Mets had with Matt Harvey last year in September. And so to accomplish that, number one, they put him in the 2 spot. They figure the 2 spot, as the schedule played out, gives him more days rest per start. They will skip him on occasion this year to try to get to 180. So here's Wright, and Fernandez for the windup. And a fastball misses up.
David walked in his first at bat on a 4-pitch walk. No place to put him.
3 walks already for Jose. And he misses away, and now it's 2-0. It looks like he's just last 2 pitches reared back and tried to bring it. '25th pitch of the inning. Wright ready. And it's 2-1. The walks are significant. He's 1 short of a career high. 4 is a career high. 2-1 coming.
He's just coming right at it, right? The first 2, you're right. I think it's just kind of an overthrown 2 fastballs. And then here it is, hit it. That 3rd pitch there right down Broadway. David Wright swinging through it. He's late. You know, just watching that speed, the location, and David Wright being late, I think a fastball away here. You've got one pitch here. Good pitcher's pitch. Yeah, overthrew it again.
So it's been all fastballs to right.
So David's seen 9 pitches in the 2 at-bats, all fastballs. Does he have the guts to pull the string here? Bases loaded.
3-2 coming. Runners on the move. In the air. Right. Shallow. Towards the line. And Stanton makes a running catch. Jose Fernandez, 27 pitches through that second inning. Still 1-0 Mets. Presenting sponsor of Marlins baseball. Jose Fernandez right now pacing the dugout. 1-0 Mets. Jose has not been sharp. He's walked 3. He's given up 3 hits. Meanwhile, this guy has struck out 5 of the 6 hitters he's faced, including 4 in a row. Yelich, Stanton, Board, Dietrich. Echeverria, Mathis, and Jose Fernandez scheduled in the 3rd. To assemble this rotation for the Mets, they certainly have had to develop, but they also had to make some really keen decisions on trades. And the offseason between 2012 and 2013, Terry Collins had, Terry Collins kind of bore the brunt of that for a few seasons when they traded away guys like R.A. Dickey for names that Met fans really hadn't heard a whole lot of. Well, Noah Syndergaard, Travis d'Arnaud were 2 guys that came from Toronto in that R.A. Dickey trade. Zach Wheeler, guy that came from San Francisco for Carlos Beltran. Yeah. And for Met fans, and you noted it last night, in a city that's not real patient with their sports teams, Met fans have had to be patient, and boy did it ever pay off.
Yeah, for a place, as you just set it up perfectly, Rich, Sandy Alderson comes in as the general manager after Omar Minaya leaves. They had a nice little run there, good slider, tough pitching right there.
Wow, that is 5 in a row, 6 of 7 outs now via strikeout.
I mean, for the hitters right now, I mean, they got to hope for a mistake and keep this game 1-0. But he's showing 3 different velocities as high as 99 miles an hour. That's a slider at 93. He's throwing a slower breaking ball in the upper 80s. This is an impressive young pitcher right here. But to be patient in New York for this period of time, especially 12 miles away or so, you got the New York Yankees, and
Mathis,
they're always in it.
Walker, and there are 2 outs, and here comes Jose Fernandez. And so you got Syndergaard. Wheeler is coming back mid-season after Tommy John surgery. And speaking of Tommy John surgery, of all the young studs that the Mets have, and it's, I guess, a great illustration of the landscape of Major League Baseball. 4 of the 5 young arms have had Tommy John surgery. And of course, the guy at the plate, Jose Fernandez, as well.
Except Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah, Syndergaard's the only guy.
I mean, it's just very simple delivery. There's not a whole lot going on. His leg kick is smooth. It's not herky-jerky. Good little takeaway on the backside.
See a smile from Jose. And he gets an 0-2 breaking ball. No swing. Mike Everett down at first. Jose had to do everything he could to hold that one back. And he did.
Guys, do you know the exact rule on the check swing?
I do.
Hands, is the barrel?
No, I'll tell you what the exact rule is. Jose up the middle, diving stop, Walker, and Jose Fernandez has a hit. How about that?
Wow. How about Neil Walker getting to that ball? That was a nice play.
It was.
So I see the 0-2 slider. I'm saying, okay, really? And now watch. Look, he barreled that up nice.
All right, the rule on the check swing is this. In the umpire's mind, does the hitter with the bat attempt to strike the ball? It's not, does the bat cross first base? It's not, do the wrists break? It's not, does the bat break the plane of the plate? The bat, as the rule as written, is for an umpire to determine whether the hitter struck at the ball, attempted to strike at the ball. Now, the umpire can use whatever he wants to determine that. That's why there's such a gray area, and that's the rule.
Come on. So every time every hitter goes in there and tries to strike the ball,
Well,
when he swings or attempts to swing.
But in that case, you take, let's go back to Jose's check swing as Gordon swings and misses.
All right.
And Jose, in the check swing by Jose, right? That didn't come through.
He started his swing.
He did, but he did not finish the attempt to strike the ball.
Okay. I'm with you.
All right.
Umpire interpretation.
Here's a 1-2.
Here's Jose. Okay, so I'm in a swing. No, I'm not.
Now, I know you're a card-carrying member of the Pitchers Guild.
Everybody, I was begging. Every check swing, I'm saying, check him.
1-2. Fernandez at first, Gordon at the plate. And Gordon fouls it at the plate. I think that rule just illustrates how difficult it is for a guy that's either third baseline or first baseline to make that call. It happens so quickly. We get a chance to watch it in replay in super slow motion, time in and time out. They get one look, real time, real speed. Not easy. 1-2 to Gordon. I don't know how he hit that one, but he got a piece of a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and stays alive.
Just emergency right here. Short, quick swing, put the ball in play.
Fernandez at bat was a deep count. Now Gordon has pushed the pitch count to 44. And Syndergaard says enough of that. Marlins done in the third. Noah Syndergaard. Impressive.
Mets lead it 1-0. There are a lot of good follows on Twitter for Major League Baseball. That includes at MLB Stat of the Day. Earlier today, they tweeted out this statistic about Jose Fernandez. We know that he has a dominant fastball, but did you realize that it only takes that pitch 0.39 seconds to get to the plate? That is absolutely incredible. Hop onto Twitter and follow at MLB Stat of the Day. And while you're there, give us a follow under the handle at Fox Marlins. Guys?
All right, thank you, Jessica. That's something that Professor Al Leiter addressed. First, a pitch by pitch. This is the Cespedes at bat.
First pitch slider. This was after he had a 4-pitch walk to David Wright. 2 sliders in a row, and then high gas at 0-2. I think the 2 sliders, thinking he was going to expand again, and then fastball by him.
Fastball first pitch. As dominant as Syndergaard has been, Jose Fernandez has been uneven in his 2 innings. And the Mets have forced him to throw 53 pitches. Comes with a high fastball there. Now, Professor Al Leiter in Marlins Live, we were talking about pitch speed, and everybody measures the pitch speed. Syndergaard has the fastest average fastball from a starter. Cespedes fouls it off. But what about from the hitter's perspective? What if you combine a pitcher like Fernandez or a pitcher like Syndergaard, who are drop and drive type guys that really extend, and that's the key, is extension. Look at the extension for Syndergaard and Fernandez. And what that does is Cespedes hits a high, deep fly ball to left. Yelich has it right at 358. So what you're looking for is a low time from release point to arrival at the plate. And surprise, Syndergaard and Fernandez have the lowest times.
First of all, this is really fast and quick timing, obviously. 0.383 tenths of a second for Noah. You see Jose Fernandez not far behind it, 0.39. But really the thing I guess you look at Eovaldi here at 97.3 miles per hour, and then Jose at 96.4, but yet his reaction time is slightly quicker than a guy that throws almost a mile an hour faster, and that's the extension out front that Jose gets that a guy like Nathan Eovaldi does not. And I think sometimes it could explain why a guy like Eovaldi gives up a lot of hits. You see out front, this is aggressive attack, leads with his hip, stays close, and here I come. Yeah. Very similar to a Noah Syndergaard. I mean, the idea, if you could get your arm, and hopefully we'll get a side shot of Jose again, to be able to throw out in front of your head. There's a landing spot for both respective pitchers. Noah Syndergaard being a little taller, 6'6", I think he's listed as, and Jose's what, 6'4"? The closer, obviously, you could let the ball go to home plate, the better. And also, too, I think there is a command issue with that. The more you're out in front of your head, the adjustment is a lot smaller than if you're allowing the ball or releasing the ball further back, meaning behind your ear or at your ear.
It's like a pitching seminar. Here's the 1-2 on a hop. Jose to first in time, and right now a cleaner inning, although the ball that Cespedes hit,
wow, I know
you would expect on a warmer night without that 20-mile-an-hour wind coming in, it's even over the Party City deck and into the seats.
Oh, without a doubt. I thought off the bat, no question, he crushed it. But if you look at those winds, folks, that wind right there is blowing directly in from the left field fence. Thanks to Mother Nature that saved Jose Fernandez and Marlins another run.
All right, we've read some tweets. We have emails as well. I want to say the old-fashioned way with emails. That sounds odd to say, but it is. Troy, a question for you. Up
Next
the middle.
inning.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll open up with an email for Al. It's the first 1-2-3 for Jose Fernandez on the night. 1-0 after 3. Mets on top. Fourth inning rolls around, and a reminder, the first Fireworks Friday this season is this Friday. The Braves in town, 7:10 start. You can pick up a new burger and beer package for just $25. You get a bullpen reserve ticket, a specialty burger, and a 12-ounce craft beer. And you enjoy a fireworks show after the game. Marlins.com to get your ticket now. How about that? A Fireworks Friday, craft beer, specialty burger, and baseball. 7 strikeouts already in just 3 innings for Noah Syndergaard. Jose Fernandez has the only hit. Marcell Ozuna, Christian Yelich, and Giancarlo Stanton, the teeth of Miami's batting order. Two guys who like to participate in email and Twitter Tuesday, Stan and Stan, Hendersonville, North Carolina. And they have a question about offense in baseball. The decline of offense over the last 4 or 5 years stopped last year. Runs were up a little bit last year. It seemed like things started to stabilize.
Home runs were up, I know that.
What can be long-term solutions to bring some offense back? It's shades of 1969. Too many walks, strikeouts, not enough action. I mean, I know things can be calm and slow sometimes in Hendersonville, North Carolina, but they're talking about the game of baseball. What solutions would you have? Would you move the mound back a little bit?
So that would, we're worried about arm injuries now.
Would you lower the mound a little bit?
No.
Off the end of the bat, Walker sliding, throwing. Foot on the bag, or did he go off? OZUNA said he was off. The umpire had a pretty good look at it. The Marlins obviously will take a peek. And OZUNA's not going to budge. The Marlins will take a look.
What a play. Yeah, Walker scooting out to short right field. Quick spin throw. Oh. Keep going.
Marlins are looking at it right now. OZUNA's taking his time. Tough to tell on that one. I think that first look was probably the best look, and the Marlins are going to challenge. Now, Don Mattingly won a tight one last night in the first inning. Not often you see.
That was too, right?
Not often you see Don Mattingly with a ski cap on. Our friends at SNY using their super slow-mo.
Oh, yeah.
I think he got there before the foot went back on the bag.
Man, that's close,
isn't it?
I mean, is his cleat touching? So last night was real close.
It was.
Johnny came out. It was a ball that was not quite in Duda's glove yet.
Yeah, it was Yelich's infield single, and it was a gamble by the strategy of replays because it was 2 outs, first inning, and it was an infield hit. So if you lose your challenge at that point, that's not a huge play to lose your challenge over. Here, the Marlins are desperate for base runners in a game where a run is probably going to make a difference. The Marlins are challenging here.
I mean, for what we saw, it looked like he was barely off the bat, right? There it is. Does he get back? Does the metal part of the cleat touch him? No.
You can see dirt. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, well done, guys.
How about that, Al? Now, in New York, they obviously have the views from SNY, and he's safe.
2 for 2, Donnie Baseball.
Well, Donnie Baseball with an asterisk. OZUNA more than happy to trot back out to first base. He did not want to leave
That's
first.
a knock.
Pat Shine is the Marlins replay guy. Shine, a baseball man. And since replay was instituted and Shine was hired, the Marlins have been at the very top in the National League in replays and getting them right.
Right. Well done, Pat.
So I would think base hit.
That is a base hit.
And here's Yelich with Stanton to follow. What difference does it make to get Syndergaard into the stretch? He had to do it for one hitter, and that was Gordon in the third after the Fernandez single.
Well, I mean, for one, when you're cruising, you feel more. I always felt more comfortable through my windup as opposed to from the stretch. Most guys on their side work, they throw more from the full delivery or the full windup. But I don't think. I mean, just looking at Noah, I don't think he loses much. Some guys mentally think they lose a little bit stuff-wise because you don't have that rhythm of full delivery. His delivery is real simple. His leg kick's not much. His takeaway on the backside is short and quick. He gets to his release point.
All right, I think Stan's point is this.
Stan in Hendersonville.
Yes.
All right, here, before you go.
The velocity is going up. Syndergaard, Jose, pretty soon 98 will be the norm. Pretty soon 99. It just keeps climbing.
Okay. So they're historically, Stan's not far off. And if it means to move the mound back or lower, this looks like a 2-ball.
Not with Yelich's speed. He's going to beat it.
So once upon a time, mid-80s or 1850s, the mound was closer. It was 50 feet. And then they went to late 1800s to 55 feet.
Very nice. I did not know this.
Yeah. And, you know, it was right around the turn of the century, they moved it to 60 feet, 6 inches. So that's not unprecedented. I would explore a little bit of this. I would explore these shifts have really cost a lot of hits, I believe, for certain hitters. I would probably maybe explore illegal defense, as you see in basketball.
Stanton pulls in the hole. Cabrera, that's close. Yelich out.
Another close one.
Nice play by Cabrera. Walker waiting at the bag. And Syndergaard gets another out.
A smooth play from Asdrubal Cabrera, the veteran. Wow, that was closer than. Let's take a look here. How about this one, Stan from Hendersonville? The left-right matchup, something late in the game, because now we're also seeing relievers that come in that we've barely heard of that are throwing 95 to 100. You know, one pitching move, or you have to face.
And Bohr
nice
against
job.
the shift. Now he's done this 4 times already this year, and that is sneak one to the left side of the shift that you just talked about.
I love it. I love for guys that get shifted on, go the other way. I mean, this is a good matchup and easy for Justin. I mean, just simply place it out there. You have a guy throwing 98 miles an hour. Why not? I mean, get the line moving. Watch here. He sets up away. This is a nice piece of hitting here. If he tried to pull that ball, well, if he tried to pull the ball, he probably missed it. It's a good job right there.
Look at this spray chart. And yet, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if this continues for another week or so, if teams will stop shifting against him. Dietrich now. Dietrich into right field. That's a base hit. Ozuna around third, on his way home, or rather Stanton is, and he'll score. And moving up is Dietrich to second. Bohr to third. And the Marlins have tied it against Syndergaard. Derek Dietrich, what an uncomfortable at bat he had his first time up.
How about this? Let's see a little change up, something down and away. Out in front, broken bat, good piece of hitting. Was able to stay through the zone. Yeah, he broke that bat. Eye to hero, and Stanton just busting around. See Stanton 2 outs. Going on contact, no question about it. Lenny Harris go. You facing Syndergaard, might be your only shot.
And so Bohr's at third, Dietrich's at second, and here is Echeverria. Echeverria fouls it back, and man, has this thing changed in a hurry. Syndergaard had struck out 7 through 3. Remember Ozuna, and how big is that challenge at first base now that opened the door just a little. Couple ground ball outs, the Bohr single, and a Dietrich single.
Big, right? 2 games in a row. See the pitch count there in the 4th inning.
If for Syndergaard, the first run that he's given up this year. To Echeverria. Got him with a breaking ball, but Miami is on the board. Derek Dietrich ties this game 1-1 in the fourth. In a matchup dueled as two flamethrowers and aces, Noah Syndergaard was dominant, and Jose Fernandez really battled it. We talked about extension and how good these two guys are, and here they are together.
Pretty cool overlay right here, Rich. Watch these two flamethrowers. I know it's not exact, but the idea of throwing out in front of your head and your front landing knee. They do it as well as anybody in baseball, making the perceived velocity look greater than it is. And they're already throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour. Awfully tough to barrel up.
And now we'll see how Fernandez responds to getting a run on the board and tying this ball game, because he was visibly frustrated with his lack of control. 3 walks in his first 2 innings, and his career high is only 4. To left, Yelich makes the catch. One thing we can see already, the ball's not flying at all tonight. With the wind coming in from left, cold, a little bit damp, you're really going to have to hit it a ton to get it out of here tonight. Michael Conforto is out number 1. As Drupal Cabrera, Travis d'Arnaud also coming up in the 4th.
Well, I mean, like these pitchers need it, but there's no question Cespedes leading off last inning. He hit that ball well. If that 25-mile-an-hour gust wasn't blown in the left, it's a 2-1 game.
Steve the Pirate has this tweet for you. If Derek Dietrich continues with his clutch situational hitting, he's got 3 big hits already in key spots. Where does he get placed in the field? Where can you play him? Where can you find a spot for him in the lineup?
Wow. I don't know. Can we get the headset on Don Mattingly?
We have to request that. All
right, Steve, you know what? It's good to have versatile utility players that can play in all different positions. We saw Chris Johnson last night, did a nice job at first base, a couple knocks. To lengthen your roster and have formidable players that can fill in, like what Dietrich's done.
And your point is a good one, and we're watching a National League game. You work American League games as well. You don't see that as much in the American League, that versatility or being that valuable. Although some teams have been able to take advantage of it. Oakland comes to mind with their platoons.
That's true. A platoon, but you don't see that often. I know that's a Billy Bean thing out there in Oakland. Yeah, the double switches, and pitchers don't pitch, 9 innings, so you're always getting pinch hit opportunities. And I think in order to, especially a guy like Martin Prado, who's been nicked up and banged up the last couple of years or so, giving him some rest is good.
To left, Yelich is there. I will say this. obviously, the way Dietrich has swung the bat, it will give Don Mattingly a little more confidence, and it will get him into the starting lineup. One thing that really helped Dietrich out last year was being able to pinch hit and be successful at it. And it's a hurdle. Justin Bour made that jump last year as well. It's a hurdle that young players have trouble getting over if they're not starting, and that is, can they come off the bench and get a hit? It's a really hard thing to do in Major League Baseball. Dietrich has started to master it. Bour helped get himself in the lineup by doing it last year.
You know what, and you say young player, and at what point in a young player's career do they resign themselves to the fact that this is my opportunity, and instead of pouting that I don't get at bats every day and get in the groove, how do I maximize my position on the roster? And that's key. That's why I think often you look at teams that have a depth to their roster. It's not just the 9 guys you put out there, 8 guys you put out there. You got to have a full roster. You have to have a couple versatile players that your manager's comfortable and has confidence in using them.
What do you see different from Jose Fernandez here in the 4th as opposed to his struggles in the 1st and the 2nd?
You know what? I think really he's attacking. If you look at these last couple of bats, he's pounding the zone. He's getting ahead. And it's like simple 101 pitching. If you can get ahead and you can expand, you're going to do okay. And the fact that he, had a couple walks, the 4-pitch walk to right, second batter of the game, leads off the game. And Granderson gets off the schneid after a 1 for 24. It was kind of a reeling first inning, slightly, and then the 2nd inning he has another leadoff walk to Conforto. Pound the zone, get ahead. He's got 3 good pitches and he's using them.
d'Arnaud is rung up. Wow. And Fernandez gets a strikeout. Fox tracks pitch number 5. Plenty of the plate and at the knees. The duel is back on. It's 1-1. Mets and Marlins. Marlins Live, the pregame show presented by your South Florida Honda dealers, gets us ready tomorrow, and we have to be ready early, 12:30. Craig Minervini, Carl Pavano in studio. Mets and Marlins meet in Game 3. Game 2 is a pitcher's duel, though it didn't look like that from the start. It looked like Noah Syndergaard was on and Jose Fernandez was struggling. To Fernandez's credit, he limited the damage to just the 1 run. The Marlins get a Derek Dietrich RBI single to tie the game. Jose got the first hit of the night for Miami, and he's on deck. Jeff Mathis will lead it off. And then top of the order in D. Gordon. Mathis fouls it back. Mathis getting a start. We had an earlier email, Al Leiter. from Lee, who wants to know. Mathis seems to handle Jose better than Real Muto. Should he become his personal catcher? Are you a personal catcher advocate?
I don't mind it. You know, it's not about hurting feelings. If there's a better relationship, and I can tell you this, Rich, who wrote that?
That's Lee.
Lee. I could tell you there were certain catchers that I just, you trust, you believe, you have a connection. You know, when there's doubt in your mind as far as a pitch selection, there's certain guys that you buy in. And unlike at college and high school levels where coaches and managers are calling the pitches at the major league level, that doesn't happen. You go through a scouting report, and there's a comfort level. There's a comfort level of how you communicate your relationship.
All right, now remember the last.
I think here. I'll finish that for Lee. I think it would be wrong of a pitcher to demand or suggest in a strong way that, hey, I want this guy. But I think it's, you know, as a manager or a coach or a pitching coach, you could kind of see the relationship, and you got to give these guys days off. Can't catch every game.
Last at bat, remember Jose fell behind 0-2. Didn't bite at the breaking ball, got a fastball. And Syndergaard, knowing that in a 1-0 count with the hardest fastball in baseball, just bounced a breaking ball to the pitcher. So there's some respect.
Right, so look, that's a 2-0 hack. Swing a little too hard there. 98.
He's hit 100.
Wow, look at the speed differential. 26 miles an hour.
Big guy too, 6'6", 242 out of Mansfield, Texas. And a 2-1 breaking ball.
I mean, that tells you right there what he thinks of Jose Fernandez. Look at Jose smiling. 2-1, you throw 100, and you're throwing a 2-1 breaking ball to the pitcher.
Did you see the smile from Darno there? Darno had a smile as well going after the 2-1 breaking ball. And Syndergaard has struck out 10 already.
Well, here's another one of those sliders, just nasty. Your better hitters in baseball, real hitters, can't hit that.
It's a good time for this email. It's from Ryan, who's watching in England. All the velocity has him thinking, will baseball ever see a 20 strikeout game again, or will pitch count and limits rule that out?
Oh, that's a good caveat. I would say absolutely we'll see 20 again, because the strikeout doesn't matter as much anymore, as some of the sabermetricians will say an outs and out, which I disagree.
If you could pick one or two guys who might get there.
Well, here's two on the pitching tonight. I guess we got to throw out Kershaw or King Felix.
Thor,
Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, the mighty hammer of Thor has become a popular. I don't know if you can you bring those into the ballpark?
An actual hammer?
Yeah.
I think they sell them and they're like plastic. There it is.
Yeah, that would be impressive if that was a real one. 0-2 to Gordon.
Well, D's having a tough go first two at bats. Now here he's in the hole 0-2, and Syndergaard just coming right at him. First at bat, 3 pitches, all fastballs. The second at bat, he saw 4. One was a slider, strikeout.
0-2 breaking ball. Gordon stays alive. Jay wants to know, is there actually a breeze at Citi Field, or is that just the natural look of Noah Syndergaard's hair?
They got a little fan in front of his face.
Change up. And he got him. Thor is tough to hit tonight. 11 strikeouts through 5. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By Checkers, fast foodies know the deal. And by your South Florida Chevy dealer. In New York tonight, Jose Fernandez, Noah Syndergaard matched up. And here is Syndergaard leading it off for the Mets. Syndergaard has punched out 11. He hasn't walked a soul. 4 hits. He has given up a single run. For Jose Fernandez, not nearly as dominant, but effective. He's given up 1 run. He's walked 3. It's 1 shy of a career high, and he's struck out 2. He's gone 2-1 on Syndergaard, who had a sacrifice bunt back in the second. Lucas Duda, RBI single in the first for the Mets. Derek Dietrich, RBI single for the Marlins in the fourth. And that's it for scoring tonight.
I can't believe when you said 1 more walk will be a career high at 4 for a guy that strikes out a lot of guys and throws 95.
We'll count 3-2.
The whole throwing too many strikes.
Count stays full at 3-2. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for the Wednesday night showdown presented by Lechonera. All right, the card said night. It's a day game tomorrow. Swing and a miss. Jose Fernandez strikes out Noah Syndergaard. Day game tomorrow, 12:30 Marlins Live. 1 o'clock Marlins Mets. So Jose struck out the last 2, and now he has struck out 3. Now he was high volume strikeouts. His first start, 13 strikeouts against the Detroit Tigers. As good an offense as you'll find in baseball. Tonight it's Syndergaard through his 5 innings, who has punched out 11. You see the line against the Tigers. Fastball misses in. And Fernandez, after struggling the first 2 innings, got the last hitter in the second, and he is retired now 8 in a row. And Granderson, who had the double, scored the run back in the first, also walked in the second. With 1 out, nobody aboard, halfway through in Flushing on a chilly, windy night. Rich Waltz, Al Leiter, Jessica Blaylock. Three-one pitch, a strike. Mr. Frank tweets, Al, what did you top out in your career?
97.
97.
And I remember it because I struck out Cecil Fielder at Pro Player Stadium, old Dolphin Stadium, with the Marlins playing against the Yankees in an interleague game. Good slider. Boy, that's a good sequence right there, folks. Got behind 3-1, comes back with a 3-1 changeup to a guy who was 1 for 24 the start of the season, and then strikes him out with a 3-2 slider. I mean, just excellent pitching. The sequence there, impressive. I was a guy who mostly, I threw hard early part of my career. I did have 2 shoulder operations, but I probably settled about 93-ish, probably about my consistent velocity.
Twitter Tuesday, driven by Ford. And a strike to David Wright, who walked and flied out in the second. Now all of a sudden, Jose Fernandez has struck out 3 in a row. 4 total on the night. Mixes in a changeup.
Yeah, he's got that rhythm. You know, watching him up close, Jose Fernandez, that is, just he likes to work fast, and that could work to your advantage if you're throwing strikes and getting ahead, and if you get a little out of sorts slow down. But he's got a nice little rhythm of the combination fastball slider change, and he's using that changeup a little bit more, sprinkling it in. Commanding, aggressive pitcher counts.
Elevated a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and strikes out David Wright, and all of a sudden Jose Fernandez has found another gear. He has struck out 4 straight in a 1-1 duel with Noah Syndergaard and the Mets.
And the Mets are all tied up in the 6th inning. Well, throughout the course of the season, different ballparks like to do promotional nights and giveaways, and the Mets have a great one coming up. On April 30th, they are going to give away a Noah Syndergaard bobblehead, but it is not just any bobblehead. It is a Syndergaarden gnome. Take a look at this. The hair, the hammer. How about that? And guys, just a heads up, this Saturday at Marlins Park, it'll be the first of an all-star bobblehead giveaway. Charles Johnson, the first one to be given away as a bobblehead.
Oh, very nice. Well, the hair is perfect. It is perfect. To quote an old song, Marcell OZUNA, little roller, and that is a foul ball. Don Mattingly, Jose Fernandez, and it looks like Jose is done for the night. The stressful innings early.
Yeah, cold night, 90 pitches, did settle down. Last 4 batters he faced struck them out. Actually retired the last 9.
Greg Breslow in the bullpen.
10.
OZUNA, Yelich, Stanton. This was the trio that opened the 4th. The inning the Marlins got their lone run. Syndergaard has punched out 11. There's your starter comparison. Jose came on late, striking out the last 4 he faced. Syndergaard busted right out of the gates and was throwing heat and BBs and dealing strikeouts from the very start. Career high for Syndergaard is 13 strikeouts. That was last year against Arizona. So he's 2 shy of that. He's at 75 pitches. OZUNA's popped out and singled. End of the bat, Syndergaard has it. And he shovels on over to Duda. And there's one out here in the 6th inning. Marlins fan wants to find the footage of you in your 97-mile-an-hour heater.
Well, he's calling me a liar.
We talked earlier about the temperature and how it might affect pitchers. We did go looking for your 97-mile-an-hour heater. We did not find that. I'm sorry.
Did they have video back in 97? Maybe we have to get to the old 8-track.
But we did find something for you. We'll spring it on you momentarily.
Okay.
Yelich takes a strike, and it's a ball and a strike. Christian Yelich is struck out, bounced into a fielder's choice. 4 hits, all singles. And of course, replay a key in this ball game. Marcell OZUNA, a ball to the left of Neil Walker to start the fourth. Walker spun through in time at first, but stretching Lucas Duda brought his foot off the bag. The umpire didn't see it, but the Marlins did and challenged. Yelich bangs it to left. It's sinking and falling, and it's a hit. Conforto has it. Yelich is aboard at first. Here's what we found, Al Leiter. You talked about the coldest you've ever been in a baseball game. This is the coldest game in Marlins history. This at 29 degrees on April 8th, 1997, and you were the winning pitcher.
It was the coldest. I thought the day before, there you go, little Sammy Sosa, sit down. Who's this guy?
You got a little help from Rob Nen.
I did, Robbie Nen. What, that Kurt Abbott over there at second? Look at Robbie Nen. That was the year we won the World Series.
Yelich is running on the pitch. Ball is down. He's got it stolen by a bunch. In a game where every little thing means so much.
Good jump right there by Christian Yelich.
The Marlins really don't care about opening first base or not with Stanton at the plate. They want the extra base. .1-0 fastball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Stanton tonight is struck out, bounced into a fielder's choice. The mask on his helmet is back. Last night against the lefty. Let's see how far that pitch missed in.
Now, if he gets that, it's unfair. 1-0 count, giving Syndergaard 6 inches in off the plate. Well, he's coming at him. I mean, this matchup here, Dan Warthen, the Mets pitching coach, sits down before the game, says, okay, well, how are you going to go here? Body line trying to go in. He misses big time. You see Darno catching that ball that looked like outside.
Great speed at second with Yelich. 1-1 game in the 6th. And they go back in again, and it's 3-1.
Trying to pound the body line. You got a big, strong hitter. They're looking as okay, somewhere in off the plate.
Breaking ball, check swing, and he went.
He struck out on that same pitch in the second inning, his first at bat. Pitch that was way out of the zone, except it was a 3-2 count. And that's that whole, we're showing that the reaction time or the amount of time a hitter has off of Syndergaard, 0.38 of a second.
Hasn't walked anybody tonight, and his only other 3-ball count was to Stanton in the second. 3-2 here. Fastball in, and Stanton walks.
Good at bat by Giancarlo.
And an interesting dynamic in that the Marlins, who at times have kept runners anchored at first so that pitchers would pitch to Stanton, didn't even think about it here. Yelich took the bag, and Syndergaard walked Stanton. Now you've got Bohr, who crossed up the shift and singled the left his last time up.
And as you can see here, the Mets deciding to put David Wright. I know it's first and second. They're going to be a foot race to get a play at third, but David Wright previously was probably about there.
Yelich is running. The throw to third, and Wright's tag. He's out. That is a Terrific catch and tag by Wright, who was on the move before the throw got there.
Well, that's the whole thing. David Wright got a little closer. You see the foot race, but he doesn't have a big secondary lead. And I believe Noah Syndergaard, kind of quick pitch. There's a tempo and a timing to his set. You see, it wasn't quite that extra secondary lead that he needed. And bang, bang, got him. Perfect. Just getting him.
Right on the toe. So Stanton remains at first. That's a big play in this ball game. You see how far out d'Arnaud sets. And it's 0-2. Pitchers have pitched Bohr on that outside part. And so far this year, he's taken a lot of those pitches to left. Big shift on for him to pull. Change up, gorgeous. And Bohr strikes out. The Marlins are done in the 6th in a 1-1 duel at Citi Field. One bottom 6. Noah Syndergaard is one shy of a career high in strikeouts. He's got a dozen. Travis d'Arnaud getting a pat on the head. His terrific throw to get Yelich, a big play in the 6th. Saturday, an all-star Saturday, the first one of the season for the Marlins as they take on the Braves. That's the 16th this Saturday, 7:10. University of Miami Family Day. And you can get all-you-can-eat seats for just $28. First 5,000 fans get a CJ Charles Johnson All-Star bobblehead courtesy of Pepsi. Get your tickets at marlins.com. Greg Breslow takes over for Jose Fernandez. Fernandez, remember, was right around 50 pitches after just 2 innings. And so a couple of stressful innings to start his night. Don Mattingly seeing that, sensing that, has lifted Jose after 5. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for Fernandez. The run was earned. The damage could have been much higher, especially early when the Mets were threatening. Jose with the 3 walks, 1 shy of his career high. Breslow enters at a precarious spot. He's got lefties in the inning, but he's got Cespedes to open the inning. Cespedes 0 for 2 has struck out, flied out, and Lucas Duda and the switch hitter Neil Walker. With Conforto and Cabrera following Walker. But as we noted, Breslow's the guy that in his career has a pretty even split between lefties and righties. Both have hit around 240, 243 against him.
Fastball, slider, change. Been around a long time. 35 years old. Not really a strikeout guy. Up in Boston the last couple years.
Cespedes last night hit everything hard. I mean everything. He's 0 for 2 in this one.
You include his last at bat as well.
He was 2 for 4 last night with a couple of line drive outs. Going old school with the Sox. You've got the leg guard, more of a shin guard, that inner ankle, and a pad on the foot as well. Reaches out into left field, a base hit.
Yeah, Cespedes is heating up. He's had some good at bats in these 2 games. There's a changeup down away from Breslow. You see he's out in front. The sting is out. His body's back enough and just full, but he's strong. That ball was a good pitch. It's a base hit to left field.
Marlins bullpen last night, 4 to 3rd innings, no runs, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts. They'll have to match that tonight, it feels like, in a 1-1 game. The Fernandez-Syndergaard matchup. And Mathis has to smother that pitch to Lucas Duda. Duda an RBI single, and he's bounced out. Well, the Darno throw and the right tag on Yelich's steal attempt is an enormous play. It obviously shortened that inning. That went over the screen and out of play. This was Miami's bullpen last night. Chris Narveson got the win.
Nice job, Narveson. Then McGowan came in for an inning. Breslow. Mars for the last inning. Bullpen does that. Just what they need.
Duda chase back. Excuse me, Cespedes chase back. Gordon backing up the play.
Cespedes not a threat to steal last year. He had 4 stolen bases with the Mets. Caught stealing once.
Big shift for Duda. Dietrich is over on that first base side. Not a big issue for Dietrich, who's a shortstop at Georgia Tech. Has played second in the big leagues, played third, played first. So moving him over there is not a big change for him. Bohr holding the runner. And the 2-1 is a strike. Breslow, a good breaking ball. And Duda chases it.
Good pitch by Craig Breslow after a fastball slider sequence. The previous pitch 88 fastball in, and then just good plane. What's the depth on this slider here? Looks middle of the plate and ends up being down and away. Good pitch.
Neil Walker. Switch hitters bounced out twice. talking about the strike zone, umpires on check swings. Robert wants to know, what do you think about the use of an electronic strike zone? The Fox Tracks and the pitch tracking technology that StatCast has now, that's been in play in baseball for the last
Absolutely not.
7 to 9 years.
No.
But that's why we ask questions. We want to hear answers.
What do you think, right? I mean, we're going to take the human element 100% out? You like the idea?
No, I haven't answered.
Oh.
I'm like Sweden. I'm sort of, neutral. I remember last year. Now you work over across the way at MLB Network. Eric Burns. Was it Eric Burns? And
yeah, Burns.
Who did his...
He's crazy. Go ahead.
But he had a minor league game where they actually called balls and strikes using the electronic technology that they have for major league games. In the center, that's a base hit. Ozuna charging for it. Cespedes is going at third. Ozuna's got a good arm, and he's in there. And the Mets go first to third on a Neil Walker hit. And are set up here in the bottom of the 6th.
Neil Walker got a ball up. Let's see the location. Ooh, yeah, up and away. Tried to go down and away. Nice hitting on the switch hitter, Neil Walker, driving that ball left center. Cespedes got on his horse. Straight through the middle of the field, Neil Walker, that is. Cespedes had no hesitation. He was even as good as Ozuna's arm is, easily get into third base.
And now Craig Breslow needs a ground ball. Cespedes and Walker at the corners. Michael Conforto, the youngster, who was walked and flied out. Infield plays him to pull. Talk about a ground ball for a double play. This is not an easy configuration to turn one. You see the Marlins. Dietrich is on the left side. Echeverria over on the first base side. And D. Gordon pulled over towards that first base line. I mean, any ball to Echeverria's left, and there's no way to turn two.
Yep.
Good pitch. Got in under his hands. It's 1-1.
That's the scouting report for Conforto, but in a situation like this, Marlins play an obvious pull with the infield the way it is. There's Perry Hill, the infield coach, one of the best in the business.
Conforto, a guy that really helped the Mets last year. He had 174 at bats. You see, he was only drafted in 2014 out of Oregon State. He slugged .506, 9 homers, 14 doubles. David Phelps, there he is, getting ready. 2-1. On the ground, Gordon etches there, and they get 2. With the shift on, Echeverria had to go to his right to get to the bag. Gordon with the perfect feed, and Breslow gets the double play and ends the threat. And the duel at Citi Field continues. It's 1-1 still. But Craig Breslow found himself in a first and third spot. He got Michael Conforto to roll over on one, and the Marlins middle infield turns a double play.
Huge right here. Craig Breslow getting the slider down the way. Got in on Conforto a little bit, and then D. Gordon Echeverria over the board to end the threat. Huge, huge pitch. And 2 outs. Pitcher's best friend right there. You betcha.
In a 1-1 game, into the 7th, Derek Dietrich, Danny Echeverria, Jeff Mathis, pitcher spot. And remember, Breslow there now. Phelps is warming in the bullpen. And so a pinch hitter when the Marlins get there, if they get there this inning. Syndergaard misses outside. Noah Syndergaard has been dominant tonight. 12 strikeouts, 1 shy of a career high. He's walked just 1. Miami has just 5 hits, all of them singles. Change up and a strike, and it's 1-2. Dietrich to right, hit pretty well. Granderson back, looks up, and it's over his head and off the base of the wall. And Dietrich is racing into second base. The RBI single in the 4th, the only run for the Fish. That was Dietrich. The double here, the only extra base hit of the night for the Fish. That is Dietrich.
How about Derek Dietrich? Doubling up, Syndergaard did with a changeup twice. Look at missing location. See Darno reaching back out over the plate. Nice piece of hitting by Dietrich. Granderson realized and watched this ball just fade down and away, but it was more middle of the plate. Nice approach.
Now, let's see how the Marlins play this with Dietrich at second, Echeverria. The issue here for Don Mattingly, I guess a little nuance, is that he's at the bottom of the order. Echeverria pulls a ground ball to right, who captures it, keeps Dietrich, and gets the out. And we didn't even have a chance to chew on that one.
Yeah.
Echeverria with the out. And here's Mathis now. Mathis has bounced out and struck out.
Well, I mean, that just seemed to have all written over it. You bunt him over, get to third base. So many different ways to score from third with less than 2 outs.
There are times when a manager, and that's a strike to Mathis, for a guy like Echeverria, who does go the other way and hit the ball to the right side, will let him try to push it in that direction rather than just bunt it. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Here's the 0-1. Mathis to left. Hit pretty well. Conforto back, makes the catch, tagging is Dietrich, and he'll hold there. Well, that's as good a swing as you're going to get. Mathis hit it on the screws. Conforto at the track. And so it's down to Ichiro, who will pinch hit here.
Boy, you know, the what ifs. He got good wood on it. Deep enough, certainly runner at third base. That would have been a sac fly. It's not enough to get over Michael Conforto's head. You see Dietrich looking to possibly tag up. Good idea he did, and there was a strong throw right to third base from Conforto.
And it's Ichiro. His career pinch hitting average with 2 outs. Not a lot of power, and so the outfield is shallow, especially at left. Ichiro still looking for his first hit of the season. And he has to strap in against upper 90 heat, which when you're 42 years old is not easy, even if you're Ichiro.
Throw in the left, Ichiro.
You see how shallow Conforto is in left. Ichiro in the hole. Cabrera. Safe. Plant the plate. Dietrich is out. The Marlins are going to look at the video, but it looked pretty clean at home plate. Dietrich never argued, and he makes his way to the Marlins dugout. You could almost have a double. I mean, here's the look. I don't think he even gets to the plate. No, I don't. The foot never got there. And he wasn't blocking the plate. It was a clean play. Still 1-1. Plate by Lucas Duda. Hey, he watched the World Series. He remembers this play.
Well, I wonder if that was in Lenny Harris's mind as well, but you could see never got there. And one might say, well, is d'Arnaud blocking home plate? No, he had the ball. He has the right to now make the tag. Good
Meanwhile,
call.
the play at first. Now, this goes as a base hit. What could have happened is that the Marlins appealed and won the appeal at home plate. The Mets may have challenged at first base. It could have been a double challenge.
Which would have negated the run, because that would have been the third out.
Right. And I mean, looking at the replay, which the Mets never had to look at, they may have looked at it just to pique their interest. It could have been a double challenge. Still 1-1. The one thing it did do in all of that is it gave Ichiro a hit, his first hit of the year, and it moves him past Barry Bonds.
Wow.
On the all-time hit list. Breaking ball misses down and in. And David Phelps is in as well. There's Drupal Cabrera for the Mets. With Travis d'Arnaud. And then the Mets pitching spot here in the 7th. So Phelps finds himself in a 1-1 game in the 7th. Sounded like a broken bat. OZUNA charges in and he makes a running catch. Nicely done. 1 out in the 7th. Marlins and Braves on a Sunday fun day this Sunday at 1:10. Pick up the Pepsi 4 for $74 pack. Get 4 tickets. 4 KM Beef Franks, 4 Pepsis for $74. Kids get a Marlins baseball cap courtesy of Fox Sports Florida. You can run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash. David Phelps, guy that has done a little bit of everything in his career. He has started, he's pitched long relief. Now he finds himself in a spot where the Marlins want him in a little short relief. They want to condense his appearances and see how it goes. They love his makeup, and they feel that that makeup might really fit in the 7th and the 8th inning.
Well, his last outing was that rain crazy game where Conley didn't go back out. Phelps threw 4 innings, 2 hits, no runs for the win against Washington. He throws strikes, and it's not going to be overwhelming. I'll be interested if this is the role that they foresee him, to see his velocity tick up. Jim Henderson warming up for the Mets.
Boy, he's been lights out this year for the Mets.
What a good story. Out of baseball, injured.
We talked velocity with the starters. Certainly Noah Syndergaard and Jose Fernandez lit up the radar guns. Oftentimes when you see a guy like Phelps, who is a starter or a long guy, when you shorten his outing, suddenly there's an uptick or 2 or 3.
Well, his average velocity last year, Rich, was 90.4, so 90 miles an hour. And already we're seeing a few 93s.
Yeah, that's 93. Now the result comes because a guy like Phelps doesn't feel like he has to pace himself, can just empty the chambers and go for it.
No question about it. You come in this situation, if you're a late inning guy, you're coming in for 1 inning. And it's, generally you eliminate your 2nd and 3rd pitch. So your primary fastball, locate your fastball, empty the tank, if you will, max effort, and whatever your number 1 secondary pitch is. His happens to be a slider. Last year, 190 batting average against.
Travis d'Arnaud fouls it off.
So when you look at David Phelps, if this is his role, based on last year, he's fastball, slider, curve, occasional change. In this role, you're not throwing 4 pitches. You find your superior number 1 out pitch. The fact that he's not a 95+ guy, he may use his 3rd. A little 2-seamer right there. 94 miles an hour. There you go, Rich.
Dietrich picks it up, flips to first. So it's 3 upticks, almost 4 from the average fastball of Phelps last year. Now remember, Phelps at the end of last year was pitching with a stress fracture in his forearm, and the Marlins shut him down. That thankfully healed, rehabbed, and by the time spring training rolled around, he was ready to go. Alejandro De Aza. So Noah Syndergaard's night is done after 7 innings. De Aza hitting here in the 9 spot. And Phelps misses down low. Emails and tweets. Jake wants to know, what was Dietrich supposed to do since the catcher had covered the plate? And as Al pointed out, by rule, if the catcher has the ball, he can do and go anywhere he wants. And the runner at that point, if Dietrich wanted to, he could plow into him. He could flatten him if he wanted. That's legal. If a catcher has the ball and is in front of the plate, he is fair game. And I think since the change in the collision rules, we haven't seen too many runners do that.
Have you seen one?
You know, I'll tell you one of the reasons why. We watch plays at the plate frame by frame, super slow motion, and you forget that runners are coming full speed down the line and have to make that decision whether to hit a guy or whether to try to slide around him. That's a decision that's not made frame by frame.
And it was exactly what I was going to say, Rich. It's taking out the aggressiveness of a runner who had that option before the rule. Now they're 100% thinking, which way do I slide, as opposed to before the rule, I can take him out.
That strike 3 call. David Phelps seems pretty comfortable in the 7th inning in a 1-1 game.
Great comeback fastball right there.
A 1-2-3-7 on to the 8th. That's 1-1 in New York. I'll take the runs. You take the pitching. This was the Mets' run early. They got to Jose Fernandez in the first. Lucas Duda an RBI hit. Derek Dietrich in the fourth against Noah Syndergaard. Giancarlo Stanton scored, and that is the run portion of the game summary. Now, Al, the pitching portion.
And then, I'll tell you what, Syndergaard, I was so impressed. 7 innings, 7 hits, the 1 run you just showed, 1 walk and 12 strikeouts. And then Fernandez settled down. His last 4 outs were strikeouts after a little bit of rocky, mostly control. Great play here by Cabrera. This is as advertised, folks. A tough play here to end a potential threat for the Marlins. Every run is precious in this 1-1 game here in the top of the 8th.
Tough to be in shirt sleeves in this one. Jim Henderson, speaking of dominant, 12 strikeouts for Syndergaard. Henderson has been untouchable for the Mets. 2 holds, 7 strikeouts in 3 innings. He's thrown 3 perfect innings. And of course, his last major league appearance back in May of 2014. Top of the order for Miami, D. Gordon, Marcell Ozuna, and Christian Yelich against Henderson. As good as he is, you would think some of the Marlin hitters are pretty darn happy that he doesn't have flowing blonde hair.
No doubt about it. Jim Henderson's been it's a good story and a nice pickup for the Mets. But Noah Syndergaard is at a whole other level.
D. Gordon has punched out 3 times tonight. He has never struck out 4 times in a game, and now it's 1-2. Mitch Smith, our baseball historian, pointing that out. And it's out. Not an easy night, obviously, for the hitters with the temperatures. The wind chills probably got this in the low 40s, upper 30s. Henderson elevates the fastball. 2-2. And a good at bat here by Gordon. Who just won't go away. 96, that fastball from Henderson.
Said about Jim Henderson, good story. He was a 26th-round draft pick by the Montreal Expos back in 2003. Took him 10 years to get to the big leagues. Just kind of did like many of these players that spent a lot of years. Finally got to the big leagues with the Brewers. Had a couple nice years. One particular year, he had 28 saves in 2013, and then had shoulder problems. Shoulder surgery, out all last year. Struggled in 14, and here he is. Throwing 96.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming. He stayed with fastballs, and Gordon continues to stay alive.
Pretty consistent, huh?
Living in the mid-90s. And D. Gordon
Who wins the battle?
Well, 10 pitches.
And he has not seen anything other than a heater.
Do you, as a pitcher, finally give in, or is just it's?
You know, the only reason why I know why he's pounding it all heaters is because he's got fouling off late, and anytime that happens, it's a short approach. And he's coming in now. Nope.
This one may stay within Wright's reach, and he just misses as he reached over the railing.
Look at Brian Schneider. Didn't even move.
All right, so 11 fastballs to Gordon. Another 2-2.
12.
That's amazing. Fox tracks. Now that the lowest of the pitches, but look at the sequence and look at where they've been.
Just tempted to throw something else. Does he throw? He does have a slider.
Darno says fastball.
Wow.
13 pitches, 13 fastballs. Two. Again in the air, again right over at the rail, and again it's out of his reach. 14 pitches, 14 fastballs, 11 foul balls for D. Gordon.
All right, he's got him set up for the something. I don't know. He's got the same swing. He's just got enough lag in it. Late.
15th pitch to Gordon. Another fastball and another foul ball. This really is amazing.
I've never seen this. 15 pitches, 13 strikes.
Alex Cora had that epic at bat where he had 20 pitches. I believe that's the record. 2-2. He threw him a breaking ball, little floater to left, and it falls for a hit. 16 pitch at bat, wow. And D. Gordon wins the battle, and he finally hit an off-speed pitch. He finally saw an off-speed pitch.
Amazing at bat. Tough AB. Finally, Jim Henderson throws a slider, something off speed. Yeah, there it is, middle of the plate. He's kicking himself now. What an AB. 16 pitch at bat.
And of course, Barry Bonds. Now, how long will Gordon be anchored at first? Remember Darno, there's your pitch count on that. Darno threw out Yelich in a key play in the 6th inning, and Gordon is back in. Our baseball research shows that Alex Cora was an 18 pitch at bat, not a 20 pitch at bat, 18. 2004. And so D. Gordon, 16 pitches. Cora ended his with a home run. D. Gordon, a single. And Marcell OZUNA swings. The count is 0-1. We have emails and tweets. I've been sitting on one from Jack in Summit, New Jersey. And he wants to know, how difficult is it for a guy like OZUNA to hit in the 2 spot behind a speedster like Gordon?
Excellent question.
He's running, pitch to the screen, and Gordon's got a stolen base.
Well, Jack from Summit, the quandary is exactly that. And I got a chance to talk to Frankie Menechino. Look at this overthrown fastball from Jim Henderson. Once in the back of, kind of see it in off the corner of your eye as a right-handed pitcher. You know he's going, and you try to rush your throw. In this case, he throws it to the backstop. Batting second is sometimes a little difficult because you want to give your leadoff runner, D. Gordon, best runner in baseball, a chance to steal. So sometimes you become a little defensive and not swing at a fastball that you normally would early in the count to allow him to run. And I mentioned Frankie Menechino.
That little pop-up, Walker will flag it down.
I asked Frank Menechino, the hitting coach, right? There's Frankie, along with Barry. I said, how difficult is it to have Marcell OZUNA really kind of learning this, hitting in the 2-hole? He said you have to still swing at fastballs, and he equated it to an example when he was the 2-hitter with Oakland, hitting in front of Giambi, and Johnny Damon was a leadoff batter, and would not let fastballs go. And this is what happens if you swing at fastballs. Guys know that, and they want to give the catcher an opportunity to throw a runner out, so they're going to get fastballs first 1 or 2 pitches, right? And if you take them because you're allowing the runner to run, you're down 0-2 or you're down 0-1. So still be aggressive, and that was the advice that Frank Menechino gave to Marcell OZUNA. Let the opposing pitchers realize that you will jump early. Obviously, you have to get some hits and line drives out of it for them to then start first pitch, curveball, slider, whatever, secondary pitches. And that's the advice from that man right there, Frankie Menechino.
Well, Jim Henderson had been perfect in his 3 innings as a Met this year until that 16th pitch at bat with a D. Gordon single. Gordon is back with a throw. Now the Marlins looking for a run. Christian Yelich, who is 1 for 3, and then Giancarlo Stanton. 1 out, 8th inning. This has been a fun ball game tonight. Matchup of Noah Syndergaard and Jose Fernandez, and even that didn't go as you thought it would. Syndergaard was dominant. He struck out a dozen. Jose was not. He was human, but he hung in there and gave up just the 1 run. If the Marlins get a run this inning, it will all go back to the exploits of D. Gordon.
Yeah, make that effort count. What an at bat.
Yelich fouls it back. It's 2-1. A homer and 4 RBIs. And a double this year for Christian Yelich. And Gordon back to second. He had 12 foul balls in that 16 pitch at bat. He saw 15 consecutive fastballs, and then Jim Henderson spun one up there with pitch number 16, and Gordon got a hit to left. And Yelich takes out, and Henderson does not look sharp in terms of command. He certainly looked sharp early in the Gordon at bat, but Gordon kind of eroded the accuracy and the command.
And he gave in through a slider.
Three-1.
Just came right at him. 3-1 count. Here it is. Hit it.
D. Gordon, the runner at second. Outfield not too deep. They're straight up. And then Yelich pops a foul ball back up into the seats. Full count. 25 pitches in is Jim Henderson in relief of Noah Syndergaard. the 3-2. Another fastball. It's almost back to the Gordon at bat with Henderson. Does he throw anything but a fastball to Yelich?
I mean, it's in it exactly, Rich. It's set up. He's late. I mean, all these foul balls are late. I think the size of Jim Henderson, smooth delivery. It's jumping on these Marlin hitters. You do have an open base with the big man on deck.
Fastball in. Yelich has walked.
Good at bat. Another good at bat.
And here comes Dan Warthen. Now setting up outside was Travis d'Arnaud. Watch where he reaches. It's a long reach, but you know what? That pitch is across the plate, and it fooled Tim Timmons, the home plate umpire. And that's a break for the Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see where the strike zone is, but you miss that badly. I don't know of an umpire that would call that a strike. And I hear you. It crossed home plate.
Well, things get even more interesting now with Yelich at first, Gordon at second, and Stanton at the plate.
1-1 game and a pitcher's duel. One out in the top of the 8th, and here comes Giancarlo.
Stanton 0 for 2. He walked his last time up. You've got excellent speed, obviously, with Gordon at second, and with the trail runner Yelich at first, who's not being held by Duda. Fastball and a strike.
I guess he's okay. I'm in take mode right here. I haven't seen this guy. Let me see what it looks like. The ball's right down the middle.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that clipped Stanton at all, but certainly Henderson, who pitched for the Milwaukee Brewers, was witness to that awful night in 2014 in Milwaukee when Stanton was hit and fractured so many bones, did so much damage, ended his season. It is the most frightening thing I've ever seen in a baseball game. One ball, one strike. Gordon has a pretty good lead at second. And that's in. 2-1. And look how far in pitches 2 and 3. Boy, if he had confidence in his slider. But he hasn't thrown it much this inning. Remember the at-bats of Yelich and Gordon. Fastball. 2-2.
This is it. Here it is. Hit it. I'm just thinking Giancarlo Stanton, 2 balls up near his face after what you just described a couple years ago he went through. How he stays in.
Another fastball. We'll see. There's the fastball, and he barely got around on it. At what point of the pitch count does the fastball lose a little giddy up? Because he's about to throw his 33rd pitch of the inning.
I mean, that varies for every pitcher.
2-2. It's up. And it's full.
You know, what happens, Rich, is that, you know, as we're seeing here, he's overthrown. And here's a guy at max effort. We've seen some nice velocities from Henderson. You overthrow, body goes out. I think that was a gets underneath, and that high pitch, especially the one that the two near his face, that's what usually goes, the command on him. Does he stay with the heater? I think so. I mean, if he's thrown this many, he thinks that this is the pitch to get him out.
And we'll see also if Gordon and Yelich are running with 1 out and a full count. In a 1-1 game in the 8th in New York, Henderson ready, Stanton ready. Runners hold. It's in, and he walked him. And the bags are loaded.
Some amazing at-bats this inning.
I don't know that Terry Collins is going to stay with them. Bohr is coming up. Now, if he goes to the lefty, and here comes Collins. If he goes to the lefty, the Marlins could counter themselves. Chris Johnson. We'll see. Wes Kendall called to the bullpen in a 1-1 game. Mets go to their pen. Bags are loaded. 1 out in the 8th. Is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. And in New York tonight, a nail-biter, 1-1, bags loaded for the Fish in the 8th. Jim Henderson out, Jerry Blevins in. Both Henderson and Blevins have been good this year. A couple of walks by Henderson, and of course that epic 16 pitch at bat by D. Gordon. He blooped a single to left to start the inning. And it's Martin Prado who will hit for Justin Bohr. Gordon, Yelich, Stanton. Prado, not easy to walk, not easy to strike out. A masked man on a chilly night in Flushing. Infield looks for 2. And Blevins throws a strike. Prado's never faced him. Blevins out in front 0-2. Blevins worked last night. D. Gordon had a base hit last night To start his Mets career, opponents were 0 for 21 against him before that Gordon hit last night.
Not a hard thrower, Blevins, right at about that 88, 89 mark.
0-2 to Prado. It's out. 1-2. Derek Dietrich is on deck. Dietrich has 2 hits tonight on a night where hits have been tough to come by for Miami early, especially against Noah Syndergaard. Marlins have 3 hits against the bullpen. Prado, right center, deep enough. Gordon tags, Yelich tags, run comes home. Yelich to third, and Martin Prado gives Miami a 2-1 lead.
Well, he got the pitch that the hitter wants, a ball up in the zone. You can drive it somewhere in the outfield. Good at bat right here. Blevins just coming right at him. See an elevated fastball, easy to get to the outfield. You're trying as a pitcher to keep the ball down, keep the ball in the infield. Good job, Martin Prado coming in pinch hitting here. And that at bat, D. Gordon, was the moment.
You're right. I mean, Gordon scores the run, and maybe it's fitting because he started the whole thing with that 16 pitch at bat, fouling off 12 pitches, getting to Jim Henderson, who would then walk Yelich and Stanton. Blevins exits. Chris Johnson has been announced as a pinch hitter. Mets go to their pen. Marlins lead at 2-1. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the pen. And he fell behind with 2 strikes. He'd never struck out 4 times in a game, and he wasn't about to against Jim Henderson, who got fastball after fastball after fastball after fastball. He got 15 fastballs in a row until he got to the 16th pitch and a breaking ball. He dumped it into left, and the inning started. Gordon has scored on a sac fly by Martin Prado, and now Addison Reed will face Chris Johnson, who hits for Derek Dietrich. In a 2-1 game now. Marlins saw Addison Reed last night, and he looked sharp. And a strike to Johnson. Yelich, the runner, at third. Giancarlo Stanton at first. An extra run would be enormous.
Yeah, tack on run. You get that runner in from third base. Give it a little breathing room. Looks like Phelps will be going back out.
Johnson gets a piece. Johnson last night walked twice, doubled, singled.
Run scored. Good night.
Oh, 2 breaking ball, and d'Arnaud took the brunt of it. It stays 0-2.
And that right inner thigh. Ugh.
Still 0-2. And still a long way to go here tonight. Mets will have the top of their order up when they get to the bottom of the 8th. Johnson back to Reed, has it, flips it. The epic battle that D. Gordon started and won opened the door just a little, and the Marlins walk in a 2-1 lead. As expected, Martin Prado and Chris Johnson stay in the ballgame. Prado at third base, Johnson across the diamond at first base. And David Phelps, who was so impressive in the 7th, sticks around for the 8th. And he gets the top of the order, Granderson, Wright, and Cespedes. Granderson has had better at-bats tonight than maybe the entire week. Doubled in the 1st, walked in the 2nd. He did strike out in the 5th. And Phelps gets a strike. The count is 1-1. And a breaking ball in. Mm. 3-1. And Phelps to the back of the mound. Well, a long inning for the Marlins to get the 1 run on a cold night. Phelps came in, heated up, got 3 outs in the 7th. Buries a fastball in on the hands of Granderson, and it's 3-2. We will get back to a few emails and tweets, but when it gets tight and when it gets fun.
Oh, yeah. A heck of a game.
Oh, a comeback fastball that came right back and caught the plate. And Granderson is out. Speaking of tweets and emails, let's check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Well, Rich, first Noah Syndergaard was trending on Twitter after that 12 strikeout performance. Now it's D. Gordon that's getting a lot of traction on Twitter after that epic at bat, including this tweet from @InsideEdgeScout that says D. Gordon's 16-pitch plate appearance is the longest since Justin Turner's 16-pitch walk back on 5/26/14. So a little fun fact for you from the Twitterverse.
Wow, that's all the way back to 2014. Justin Turner, a former Met. And David Phelps challenges David Wright. Stats is reporting it's the longest at bat in terms of pitches in Marlins history. So it usually takes everybody about 15 or 20 minutes to react, fire up the database, search in all of the nooks and crannies of baseball history. So the longest at bat in Marlins history has given Miami, or helped Miami, to a 1-run lead. And David Phelps, looking strong, strikes out David Wright after punching out Curtis Granderson.
He just went right after David Wright there. 3 heaters. That last one right down the middle, 0-2 count. But to get behind Curtis Granderson 3-1 and then come back with that 3-2 comeback fastball, very impressive. Be smart here. Cespedes has been swinging a good bat.
Singled in the 6th, a 1-for-3 night for Yoenis Cespedes. Two hits last night. Two 2-0. Cespedes. A homer against the Phillies. He has homered 18 times as a Met, and this is just his 64th game. Three and one. And of course, the number you don't see there is the slugging percentage, which measures the damage of the hits he gets. Over 600 was his slugging percentage last year, and he swings and misses at a Phelps fastball. 3-2. Mets bullpen active. Phelps trying to finish his 2nd inning and protect a 1-run lead in the 8th. And Cespedes spits on the breaking ball.
Pitched around him carefully, got behind, painting away, and make a guy like that go the other way on you.
Well, it does bring Lucas Duda's left-handed bat into play. Juan Nieves out of the Miami dugout to chat with Phelps. A fun ride tonight. It all started with Noah Syndergaard walking out to the mound and absolutely blowing heat. He would strike out a dozen Marlins. And Jose Fernandez coming out to the mound and struggling. We're not used to seeing Jose miss as much as he's missed tonight. 3 walks is just 1 off his career high. He struck out 5, but that wasn't until the end. Jose struck out the last 4 he faced. But the key for Jose was he gave up just the 1 run. Derek Dietrich got that run back, singling off of Syndergaard in the 4th. Cespedes the runner at first. Marlins shift is on with Gordon and Echeverria over on that right side. Prado left on the left side. Duda takes a strike. The Marlins shift after the first strike. They like Prado on that side in case a guy like Duda thinks he wants to bunt. Prado's a little more accustomed to fielding that from that angle. So after 1, the Marlins, 1 strike that is, the Marlins shift Prado back over to the right side. Two outs, bottom 8. Phelps, the former Yankee, trying to find a home and a role in Miami's bullpen. Sawed him off. Echeverria makes the catch. I think David Phelps has found his role and found his spot deep in Miami's pen. 2-1 to the 9th in New York. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Jeep, visit Jeep.com to learn more. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. David Phelps, 2 very impressive and important innings. Shutting down the Mets in the 7th and the 8th. 9th inning arrives. And the Mets will bring in their closer, Juris Familia. Marlins saw him last night. And he'll get Adeiny Echeverria, Jeff Mathis, and the pitcher spots. And the Marlins try to add an extra run. Emails and tweets. Javier tweets that he finished the entire Hunger Games series during D's 16-pitch at-bat. The longest at-bat by pitch count in Marlins history. Marlins have seen, obviously, Syndergaard for 7. But a lot of different looks between Syndergaard and Familia. Henderson, Blevins, and Reed, all for an out apiece in that 8th inning.
Well, with the Mets having an off day tomorrow, they fly to Cleveland Familia, their closer, who had a heck of a year last year, a 1.85 ERA with 43 saves, pitching in this game. How important it is for the Mets. On Thursday.
Yes. I was about to say.
Yeah.
It's not a split squad.
Yeah.
tomorrow here.
After tomorrow, they go to Cleveland.
But you're right. They will probably go to Cleveland after tomorrow. Marlins have an off day on Thursday. And the Braves come in. And Chavarria fouls it off. A lot of tweets and emails about the Gordon at bat. Chavarria saw it off, and Walker makes the play. What made the at bat, aside from the 16 pitches, which is the longest in Marlins history, what also made it rather unique was the fact that Henderson threw 15 consecutive fastballs and then threw a breaking ball on pitch number 16, and Gordon got it to left, and he would come in to break a 1-1 tie on Martin Prado's sacrifice fly. Our Twitter Tuesday tonight, driven by Ford. We really haven't gotten into the my off season, although some of the tweets and some of the emails, those of you that follow on Twitter, sometimes it's hard to get there when a game is this good.
Yep.
and it's this close. How was your off season, by the way? I mean, we might as well
Fantastic.
come full circle.
Beautiful. Northeast weather.
That's right. You have, no, come on. You've emerged from your off season well tanned.
How did that happen?
Probably your tour of Florida and spring training.
I did. I had a couple spots in Florida. Marlins was one of the camps.
Yeah, I remember because you and I met up.
That's right.
And we had a really cheesy photo session, didn't we?
Yeah, and I saw that. You posted that.
I did. Sorry. Miguel Rojas is on deck. And Familia misses down low. I'll give Mathis credit tonight, too. He came close to untying it in the 7th with a drive to the warning track. That's a strike. It's 3-1. Mathis on his way to first. Time now for the Toyota Inside Look, presented by the 2016 Toyota RAV4.
What do you got here? Coaching staff.
Marlins coaching staff. So the number of games, number of hits, home runs. Now, if you really want to go even further, was it 25 All-Star appearances?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Mattingly 6, Bonds 14. Tim Wallach, an All-Star 5 times. Daniel wants to know, and it's a timely tweet as Miguel Rojas climbs in, is there any emergency scenario or situation in the baseball rule book that would ever allow the Marlins to actually send Barry Bonds to the plate, like the emergency goalie rule in the NHL?
I don't think so.
No.
Like an Eddie Goodell thing?
You would have to. I mean, look. That one fouled at the plate. Once the lineup card is presented at home plate, that's the lineup card you have to use. If the Marlins wanted to activate Barry Bonds, they would have to sign him to a player contract first. So you could not do that like in the 6th inning or the 7th inning. I'm sure
like a one-day contract.
I'm sure some GMs have thought about dashing down, but if a guy's name is not on the lineup card at the start of the game,
you got to put him on the 40-man roster.
yeah, you might be able to massage that with a DL move or something like that. Good thinking, though, Daniel. Rojas, little tapper. This will be a tough play for Wright, and Duda's off the bag. Rojas is safe, and Miami's in business, first and second here in the ninth with one out.
David Wright knew he had to hurry up, bare hand, and go Rojas. Good speed. Watch here, a little slow roller, gets it in his bare hand and easily beating it out.
And D. Gordon's up. Jose wants to know, Al, natural or spray tan?
100% natural, Jose. Come on.
Gordon shortens to bunt. And not a bad idea here with one out. And you just saw Wright trying to make that play. I think, you know, because of the back issues, you're going to see hitters test Wright throughout the season. Mathis, the runner at second.
Well, D is so good at going the other way. It actually just helps increase the angle for D. Gordon to slap it by David Wright. This would be a big tack-on run for the Marlins and give A.J. Ramos a little breathing room. You see there, if he's not all the way in, you got a nice little gap there. Fire a little grounder through there.
Miguel Rojas, the trail runner at first. Check swing, and the home plate umpire, Tim Timmons, no appeal. He'll say that D. Gordon went around.
The intent to swing or hit a ball. What did you say again?
Intent to strike at the base.
Oh, strike at the base.
What'd you think?
Yeah, he went.
And D. Gordon strikes out for the fourth time. That's the first time in his career. He's had 4 punch-outs in a game. In a game, obviously, that'll be remembered not for that, but for the 16-pitch at bat and the base hit.
Especially this game holds the way it is. Absolutely.
So here is Ozuna now, who was 1 for 4. You know, I just realized in that check swing by Gordon with those masks, that the ski cap with the little masks that a lot of the players are wearing, what they're good for. And that's hiding anything you say to the umpire.
You can't read your lips.
Yeah. You can talk to the umpire now without anybody knowing about it except the umpire. Pitch in the dirt.
Should get a good pitch to hit here. Ozuna 1 for 4. He got a single on the replay. That was overturned. Get something to drive right here.
That's it. You know, I had forgotten about that, the nuance of that run in the fourth, but you're right. You think about the 2 runs and how those inning started. Gordon, the longest at bat in Marlins history, and OZUNA in the 4th on the play at first. Remember, Marcell wouldn't leave first base, and the fans got on him. The Marlins looked at the replay and challenged, and he was safe. Familia pours in a strike, and it's 2-2.
It was a crazy inning, and then Derek Dietrich comes up with the broken bat single to right.
And Dietrich getting a start at third with 2 hits tonight. An RBI single and a double. 2-2 coming. Familia to OZUNA. Little tapper right in and gets the out. A.J. Ramos ready in Miami's bullpen. To the bottom of the 9th. It's 2-1 Marlins. A 2-1 ball game. So not a lot of margin here for Ramos in his 5th season as a Marlin. AJ, the 29-year-old out of Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech product. 21st round pick. He earned it all the way up the minor league ladder for the Marlins. That was back in 2009. Last year he had the 4th most strikeouts of National League relievers, and he did it without blazing 97, 98 mile an hour stuff. He's a guy that depends on command and touch. Tonight's Let's Motor Player Profile brought to you by BMW Mini. Neil Walker, the switch hitter, Pittsburgh native, 1st round pick, Silver Slugger. Jonathan Neese, we talked about that trade. Neese got a win last night for the Pirates. And here is Walker against Ramos. Elevates a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, for the type of year that A.J. Ramos had, Rich, he's not overpowering, as you said. He averaged a little over 92 miles an hour. 3-pitch pitcher, awesome changeup.
Missed the first 3 weeks of spring training. Strained right calf. Busted bat, little trickler. Johnson calls, and Chris Johnson gets to the bag. Ramos has got his first out.
Been a good story. You say A.J. Ramos earning it. There's a guy who was a 21st round draft pick. He's a setup guy to Cishek when he was here. Slowly earned it. Career year last year.
Now his first outing was not a great one against the Tigers. Remember, 3 walks. He got that final out on the crazy wild pitch that bounced back to the catcher. But he got the save in the Marlins win in D.C. Michael Conforto, the big slugger, He's 0 for 2. He's walked, flied out, and bounced into a double play.
There it is right there. That's the equalizer. A little unusual in this day and age with everyone impressed with the 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. 32 saves last year for Ramos. You mentioned about the strikeouts. 87 strikeouts in 71 games.
Asdrubal Cabrera is on deck. One and two. It was Ramos that finished that win in Washington, D.C. David Phelps going 4 innings, and Phelps got the win. Ramos, of course, the save, and Phelps is in line for a win here tonight. One and two. Forto's father, linebacker at Penn State. His mother, a two-time gold medalist. Synchronized swimming. And he got him.
Nasty. He did not see one fastball. It's that wipeout, just the bottom drops out of it, changeup. Swing and miss stuff here. Watch the action down and away to the left-handed batter here in Conforto. Awesome. Slider, change, slider, slider, 2 changeups. Didn't throw him one fastball.
So 2 outs, and here is Asdrubal Cabrera. Miami's bullpen was outstanding yesterday, and they've been very good in this one. 3 scoreless innings between Breslow and Phelps. Remember that double play ball that Craig Breslow got to get out of the 6th? Phelps, an uneventful 7th and 8th. 1-0 to Cabrera. To right, Stanton in, and it falls for a hit. Stanton's got it. Cabrera, a single, and the Mets are still alive.
Right here, fastball, middle. You see again, Mathis wanting the fastball away.
Make sure you stay tuned after the game. Marlins Live postgame presented by Checkers. Jessica Blaylock live from the fields. It all started with Jose Fernandez and Noah Syndergaard both throwing heat. Syndergaard was dominant. Punched out a dozen. Jose wobbled at first, then tightened up, got through 5, and gave up just 1 run. Travis d'Arnaud, "Let's go Mets" chant reverberates around Citi Field. And a breaking ball and a swing. d'Arnaud doesn't like it. Mike Everett, the first base umpire. There you go, Al.
Yes. I'm taking that one too. If he ever asked me about a check swing, I'm saying he did.
Even if a guy thinks about a check swing.
Yeah, just even if he looked like he wanted to swing.
Mm. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. And it's 0-2. Cabrera, the runner at first. He's not fleet of foot, but the Marlins are playing deep. They don't want a ball in the gap that can beat them, or tie the game rather.
No doubles.
As well, Prado is on the line at 3rd. Johnson holds the runner at first. 0-2. Got him! Ball game! A.J. Ramos with an exclamation point. Quite a night. A record-setting at bat by D. Gordon. excellent bullpen. Craig Breslow, David Phelps, and A.J. Ramos. And Miami has taken the first 2 of these 3 games in New York. And the Fish find themselves surfacing at 500. 2-1 your final. 9 hits for the Fish. A memorable night. D. Gordon's long at bat, 16 pitches. Martin Prado's sac fly. All of that we'll revisit on Marlins Live next.